Recording in progress.
Okay, we are live. Please proceed.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Baldwin Park Planning Commission for December 14th, 2022. Commissioner Vasquez, can you please lead us in the flag salute?
Yes. Y'all please rise. Ready, begin.
Planning Secretary, will you please call roll?
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to acknowledge the fact that we have one vacant position for the chair. Vice Chair Mario Maciel Jr., Commissioner Eric Pena,
Present.
Commissioner Jean Escobosa,
Present.
and Commissioner Ricardo Vasquez.
Here.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to excuse Commissioner Mario Maciel?
Second.
I'm sorry, who motion?
Yes. Second. Oh. And I'll second it.
Did you get that, Esther? Yes.
Sorry, I was saying second.
We can now open for public comment. We now close public comment.
Yeah, seeing none, we can close public.
There is one item on the consent calendar. Would any commissioner like to pull up an item for discussion? If no items are pulled, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve it. Second.
Roll call.
Yes. Roll call.
Vice Chair Mario Maciel Jr. is absent. Commissioner Eric Pena,
Yes.
Commissioner Jean Escobosa,
Yes.
and Commissioner Ricardo Vasquez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now I will open for public hearing. The first case is CP 2209, consideration to approve conditional use permit to allow the construction of a new 950 square foot drive-through coffee shop, Dutch Bros, located on the southeast corner of Ramona Boulevard and Bogart Avenue. The exact location is 14521 Ramona Boulevard.
Thank you, Commissioner Escobosa. Associate Planner Melissa Chipris will be providing the presentation.
Good evening, honorable members of the commission, staff, and members of the audience. Next slide, please, David. Before you tonight is conditional use permit application CP 22-09. The applicant, Brianna Uwai, is requesting that the commission approve a drive-through in conjunction with the Dutch Bros coffee shop at 14521 Ramona Boulevard. Next slide, please. The project site is located on the corner of Bogart Avenue and Ramona Boulevard and is currently occupied by the Valley County Water District office, which will be demolished to allow for the construction of the proposed drive-through coffee shop. The site provides access via two-way driveway along Ramona Boulevard and Bogart Avenue. The general plan land use designation for the subject property is downtown corridor, which is consistent with the property's downtown corridor zoning. The subject site is approximately 36,842 square feet and is irregular in shape. And surrounding properties include downtown corridor zoning as well. Next slide, please. As previously mentioned, the applicant is proposing to demolish the existing office building to construct a one-story, 950 square foot Dutch Bros coffee shop with a drive-through. The entrance to the drive-through is located on the southerly end of the subject property and will consist of dual entry aisles located within the project site and wraps around the proposed building, exiting along the southerly portion of the building. The drive-through aisle can accommodate a queuing capacity of 21 vehicles at any one time without interfering with on-site circulation. Next slide, please. The coffee shop will consist of outdoor seating area only, while the interior will consist of production of handcrafted specialty coffees. Dutch Bros Coffee is a growing drive-through coffee company with more than 400 locations in 8 states with over 10,000 employees. All Dutch Bros coffee locations serve private reserve coffee, white coffee, and decaf coffee as espresso options, and all are roasted in Grants Pass, Oregon. Along with coffee, the menu includes a variety of Dutch Bros Blue Rebel energy drinks, lemonade, and tea. The Dutch Bros Baldwin Park location will operate from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week, with approximately 10 employees working on site during peak hours. 3 to 4 of those staff members will be dedicated to the parking area throughout the day to take orders and receive payments, with one employee sole responsibility will be traffic control. Next slide, please. The proposed development will be visible from the surrounding area, including surrounding streets and buildings. So as stated, the project does consist of a construction of a new drive-through coffee shop. And the facade design will include varying roof elements, parapet walls ranging in height from 12 feet 10 inches to a maximum height of 24 feet. And the elevations of the building feature a combination of reclaimed stone veneer, fiber cement siding, and cement plaster. Next slide, please. The proposed building is contemporary in style and is designed in accordance with the chain's corporate design. And employee entrances to the building are on the east elevation of the building, and customer walk-up windows are on the north elevation. The proposal also includes a decorative aluminum metal awnings and patios on the north and south elevations. Next slide, please. So in closing, staff does recommend that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution PC 22-08 to approve CP 22-09. This concludes staff's presentation. The applicant is present for any questions, and also the project's traffic consultant and civil engineers are joining us remotely for any questions as well. Thank you.
Does the commission have any questions for staff? I can start it off. I do have one question, just for my own clarification on the map. Does it start off as 2 drive-through lanes merging into one? Is that what I saw?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
So now this, sorry. So, a question for our planning department staff. So, I understand that we don't have any feedback or comment from the community. I'm wondering for past coffee shops that have come to Baldwin Park, such as Coffee Bean or Starbucks, has there been any community feedback prior to moving forward with their projects?
So with this current planning staff, we've had 2 Starbucks open, one on Ramona Boulevard and the newest one on Garvey Avenue. We also did not receive any issues regarding traffic, queuing, or nor other comments for either project.
Thank you.
There's a follow-up question on Commissioner Pena's. Was there, from our part as a city, did we do anything to let our community know? To publish it, I guess?
Yes, so 10 days prior to this meeting, we published in the local paper, and then we also sent public hearing notices to all residents and occupants within 300 feet of the proposed project.
Follow up on traffic. That specific corner of Ramona and Bogart tend to get very congested, especially during peak hours. So I guess I'm interested in hearing about the plan to manage that traffic flow.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and refer to the applicant to clarify those questions. Brianna, sorry, can you click the button on the...
Hi, can you hear me? My name is Brianna, and as part of our application, we have submitted a complete traffic study completed by Koonsman and Associates, and it did review the 3 intersections in the area during peak times, and it did find that there was going to be no significant impact to the project based on our trip generation memo. And I do want to see if Bill Koonsman is available on Zoom if he wants to expand on that further.
Mark, do we have Bill Koonsman on the Zoom?
No, I don't see he joined the Zoom. I only saw the Anthony and the Ken join them from the Zoom.
Okay, well, I have the report in front of me. It was a part of the application, and it will be submitted with our construction drawings for the engineering department to review fully, just to verify that there are no impacts to the intersection, because that was noted when we did get our application together that there may be impacts. So we did want to do a thorough study of all 3 of the intersections in the area. I can list them off too.
If I could, Commissioner Escobosa, the traffic study, when received, was also reviewed by our Public Works Department for review. Are any potential mitigation measures at that intersection, and none were provided by the Public Works Department.
Thank you.
Yeah, and his conclusions in the report were that his recommendations were just to provide good circulation for the site, which we have designed our site to have good circulation and good on-site parking to meet the city's standards, and then good signing and striping, which we will have an extensive directional sign package as part of our construction application as well. And then, of course, to have the site distances reviewed by Public Works, and then yeah, it just says participate in a phased construction of off-site traffic signals through payment of signal mitigation fees. So we'll pay any required mitigation fees as well.
Thank you.
So a follow-up question. So there was a study, you're saying there was a study done. Was there a specific time that that study was done? Was it in the morning, or how? Or maybe you could share how that study done.
Yeah. So first we did a traffic impact or a trip generation memo and a queuing analysis, and that was completed by Ken Anderson with KD Anderson and Associates. And that reviewed all times of the day to determine when the peak hours were and what the max queuing could be during the peak hours. And then that data was then used for the traffic, the complete traffic report for the intersections.
So was there, I guess, hours, and what hours were done? That study, was it done in the morning, afternoon, midday?
Like, are for the intersection?
Correct.
Yeah, good question.
The reason why I'm asking is because I know traffic, I'm not sure if the other commissioners, between when the high school is getting out, parents are picking up between 3 or 2:45 when there's heavy traffic. You got the train going by, and so that's definitely a concern for me there. So that's why I was asking.
Yeah, and they would take our traffic for peak trip generation, like during our peak times, as well as the city. So I believe that's something that was discussed, but that will be something that will be reviewed further just to verify.
Commissioner Vasquez, if I could. So in the traffic study, the existing intersection levels of service for traffic, there are 2 peak hours during the weekday, and so they identified between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. And then the evening peak hours between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. And so that interval was done within a 15-minute period interval. And then the evening peak hour at one of the intersections concluded that it's between 4:45 p.m. and 5:45 p.m. 4:45 p.m. To 5:45 p.m. And those were done within those 15-minute periods for that intersection.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to follow up, so I understand that it has a capacity for 13 to 15 vehicles in the drive-through. I also understand that other cities where you kind of use as to get sort of comps, I think there was Stockton and Sacramento. I understand that we're not sort of the size of Sacramento, so I'm wondering for, other, maybe this question's more for staff. You have kind of 2 major Starbucks that do have drive-throughs. Is the capacity as well around kind of that range for 13 to 15 vehicles, and is that sort of comfortable for Starbucks, or at least for traffic in those areas?
So the 13 to 15 ratio that's noted on the staff report, that's queuing for maximums for other Dutchboro locations. So this
Okay.
one specifically was able to accommodate 21 vehicles without causing any issues with traffic or circulation.
Yeah, with on-site.
Great, thank you for the
Yeah,
clarification.
and as far as like Dutch Bros goes as well, this report was done in the Sacramento area, like I mentioned, and we have done studies in the Southern California area that have came to the same conclusion. So 21 vehicles is anticipated to serve the anticipated demand for this site as well on our end.
Right.
Pivoting a little bit away from traffic, you mentioned that you plan on bringing on 10 to 12 staff during peak hours.
Mhm.
How many total staff is that you plan on hiring? And then I'm also interested in learning about how are you going to engage the residents so that they have the opportunity for these employment opportunities?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question for John.
My name is John Cagley. I'm actually with Dutch Bros. I'm with corporate. I'll be overseeing the development and construction of the store here. Obviously, the store employs between 20 to 30 people in total. Obviously, the staffing is between 5 and 10 during peak times and stuff like that. The engagement in the community is, since our brand really caters to a demographic of high school kids and college kids, they almost come to us before we're even open. Obviously, we do post online through social media and LinkedIn for opening positions, but a lot of it is just word of mouth through the schools. We really pride ourselves on giving kids in the high school or the college the opportunity to build up some working skills and stuff like that whatsoever. But From a community standpoint, we post when we were under construction, we post big signs saying "coming soon," job fair this day, and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Sure. So circling back to the traffic, I understand that there will be one individual or at least one person responsible for traffic control. And maybe this question's for staff. Is that mandated now by the city or is that voluntarily by Dutch Bros?
It's voluntary by Dutch Bros.
Thank you.
So just to give you some further context, so based on their operations and how they have experienced the volume at the Dutch Bros, they've indicated that based on the number of employees that they're staffing for those times is sufficient based on how the other locations that have operated. You'll find such places like Raising Cane's, In-N-Out, and some other drive-through establishments.
Chick-fil-A.
And Chick-fil-A, there it is. Well, they'll have
Very efficient
staff outside to make sure that efficiency is kept up and they're not affecting any on-site circulation. So, and they know their operations, and I think them addressing the employees, depending on how the traffic circulation goes, they would add additional staff to be able to manage that.
Yeah, no, that's always appreciated, especially.
I want to mention one thing too. We do things a little bit differently than we'll use Starbucks as an example. We don't have drive-through speakers. Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, those they have a drive-through speaker. We actually have staff outside to take your order all the time. The only reason we want it is there's no line. We will wait for the car to go up, but we have usually 1 to 2 what we call baristas out there with iPads. I'm sure you're familiar with that with In-N-Out. When it gets really busy, they have people outside with iPads. It makes it go a lot faster. That is full time for us. So going back to you said going to 2 queues to the 1 drive-through. Apologize. If you actually look at the site plan, it's 2 lines, and we actually have one of them is an exit line. So if you get your drink and you're in the second queue, you can leave before maybe the car behind you or in front of you gets their drink. So it allows the circulation a lot further. So like right there, there's it's like a hash line there. It actually allows customers to bypass other customers if they get their drinks sooner because their order is filled sooner. So a perfect example, obviously I have some queuing studies here. Our peak is 21, and between the times, we'll go from 21 cars down to 17 cars in less than 5 minutes because 3 or 4 cars will get their drinks and leave at the same time. So it's not like a Burger King where you order behind a guy and they make his order before yours and you're still waiting for that guy to leave in front of you. We have a very high turnover when it comes to cars in the queue, just because we have people outside.
Thank you. And then another question, and again, not this sort of open question. I know that there was sort of a landscaping, and just the fact that it's going to be in the former Valley County Water District site. Will there be sort of a drought-tolerant kind of aesthetic to it, or?
Yes, so a part of, or one of the conditions of the approval of the applicant is to submit a full landscape plan submitted by a licensed landscape architect. We then, our landscaping consultant reviews that to make sure that it complies with all landscaping standards.
To add to that, the landscaping proposed has to comply with the drought-tolerant state water-efficient guidelines.
Great, thank you so much.
If there are no further questions from staff, I can now open public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this project, now is your time. Please state your name, address. You have 3 minutes.
Perfect. So my name is Christopher Sines, resident 14461 Palmrose Avenue. Basically coming really excited for this project. there's very few items that come before the Planning Commission that really piqued my interest. And of course, this is one of them. I'm really excited when I first heard the news. A little perspective. For those of you guys who don't know, I had the honor of sitting up on the dais in the Planning Commission for 3.5, almost 4 years. Some of the exciting projects like the Raising Cane's it was really exciting because it allowed me to reminisce on my college years. And so for those of you guys who don't know, I studied at Arizona State University, and 2 doors down from my student housing was a Dutch Bros. So spent a lot of time heading onto campus. So my student housing was across the street from campus, and stopped to get my fix of caffeine before heading off to campus. So I am really excited for this new coffee shop. I know that we are in no short supply of coffee shops in our city, but this is going to be a very welcomed addition to our city, and it is probably going to be one of the first, if not the first, Dutch Bros in the San Gabriel Valley, probably. So that's really exciting. But as colleagues on the Planning Commission mentioned, similarly to Raising Cane's, who certainly assured us that their traffic would be okay, we see obviously that the lines extend further out. So I'm certain that this project will be a perfect. I just think that we do have to have additional mitigation plans in place just in case. So thank you guys.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Franklin. I'm one of the housing commissioners here in Baldwin Park, and if it's okay, I'd rather not share my address because of that reason. And this is my first Planning Commission meeting, but I did want to speak based on what they presented. And I mean no disrespect to the coffee industry or to your organization, but I would like to pose the question, what would your company be doing differently that Starbucks is not already doing, or another coffee shop is already doing, that's going to cause the younger generation to flock, as the young man just said, as far as near his school. Now, Baldwin Park does not have a lot of students here. They have teenagers and kids, but as far as college students, the representation is not there that you would like to flock to the establishment. So what would you all be doing differently to make them flock, or even nearby cities to flock to Baldwin Park to spend their dollars versus what Starbucks is already doing and other coffee companies? I'd like to pose a challenge to the Planning Commission to let's try to not so much reinvent the wheel, but maybe think outside the box for the city of Baldwin Park and do something we've never done before that's going to bring in not only the physical bodies, but also the dollars, something different that no other city is doing, or at least something similar to another city that's going to make us kind of stand out a little bit more, other than what pretty much, and again, no disrespect to the industry, but you can get coffee anywhere. True, your coffee is probably better than most, but it's just a quick question, that's all. I don't mean in disrespect, like I said, to anyone in the industry, but just what would this company be doing differently than the other 2 establishments that were mentioned earlier? I do thank you for your time, and have a good evening.
Can we get a response from the applicant?
Yes, you can invite the applicant back up.
Please, thank you.
I like to respond to that. Thank you, because a lot of people hear Starbucks or Pete's or what's the other one? Coffee Bean Tea Leaf. I've been with Dutch now 6 months, and what I can say is, if you go to the stores, it's like a dorm. Like I said, there's college kids, high school kids there. They're excited to work there. One thing we're very passionate about too is we do very high donations to community. Each store once a year, store manager gets to pick to a local charity and donates all the proceeds of that day to their charity. So it's not like a corporate, like, oh, we're donating to this cause or this cause. We do that too, but we allow each store independently to run within the community like their own store. Like there wasn't another Dutch Bros anywhere else. unfortunately, you haven't had the opportunity to go to a Dutch Bros, but as this gentleman said here, we're not a normal coffee store or a destination. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you have to have the sign to bring people there. People seek us out, find us out. A lot of you people probably have heard of our Eastville store. Where that Eastville store is, it's not in a great location. It really isn't. And people will drive 30, 40 miles to go to get a cup of coffee or some of our energy drinks whatsoever. But when you leave our store, you know it's not a normal coffee store. It's not a Starbucks. I call Starbucks corporate and cold. We're not. We're the surf shop of coffee. We're the energy of coffee. You know, we're, like I said, you walk in there, even if you go to a website, you can tell it's a different vibe just being there. And it's part of it really wanting a community, and that's why myself, when I first started working there, went in the store, I was like, okay, this isn't a typical coffee shop. And myself, I personally don't even drink coffee. So I get a lemonade when I go to my store. So the fact that I could see college kids and high school kids working there made me happy, because I knew that's one thing's lacking in the community nowadays is jobs for those age groups or demographics that they want to work there. I go into Starbucks, it's very corporate and cold. None of the employees seem like they're passionate to be there. Every one of our employees is passionate to be working for Dutch Bros. So.
Thank you. Before I ask my question, I wanted to check in with the public, make sure that there are no further comments. Anyone in opposition of this project? Does the applicant have any further comments regarding the public comments that have been made? I do have another question that just kind of popped into my head as I was hearing the applicant share about the culture of Dutch Bros. Could you speak a little bit to the policies that Dutch Bros has regarding diversity and equity?
Sorry, speak to the policies about diversity and equity?
Yes.
Well, I will say this, like I said, I've been with the company now 6 months. One thing I will say is Dutch Bros tries to reach out to the community and find those diversity groups. A perfect example is once every so many months, I'll get a package at home from local businesses in the communities that Grants Pass, Oregon is in, or some other areas. And they'll buy stuff from those retailers. So a perfect example last month was small businesses. So I got this little care package at home, a whole bunch of little goodies from a whole bunch of small businesses. They went out, bought. Other one was African-American businesses. They bought a whole bunch of stuff. So I will say that, from what I can tell, Dutch Bros makes it a very high point to try to be diversified. Here are communities. I know myself, I get emails once a month asking how can we be better for the communities, for our local communities and stuff like that. So here a lot of companies say they want to be better for the community, but when I see it, myself, and I've only been a few month employee here myself, I can speak to it. Like I said, if you go to our website, you can tell that that's the brand and the culture. If you go into our stores, it's all different ages, all different ethnicities. I mean, like I said, you do not feel like there's anything that's very monolithic in our stores. Everyone's free-flowing there, per se. Like I said, it's like a college dorm. When you're in college, no one cares. Everyone's happy just to be there. No one's putting up stereotypes. No one's putting on faces or this, like that. But you'll be proud when the store would open. Like, even you walk in the store, there's music blaring inside the store. It's like old Music Pluses, old Virgin Atlantic stores. You go in, you have a light bar. I'm like, is this a club? Am I walking to a club? So it's one of those things. If you go on Yelp and stuff like that, people are excited. They gave me $5 gift cards to hand out to people, and we don't have one. I live in Temecula myself. And I handed one to an employee because she saw I was wearing I have my keychain that says Dutch Bros on it. She's like, oh my God, I wish there was a Dutch Bros here. And I said, I gave her a card. She's all, can I give you a hug? Okay, I worked for Disney for 12 years. I've never got a hug by someone saying I worked for Disney. So, you know what I mean? So I got, hey, can you give me tickets? But she's like, I really needed this today. And I just gave her a $5 card. You know what I mean? So I could tell, obviously, the brand is very impactful in the areas they currently are. It's something we are bringing to California. One thing I do want to mention, she did say we have 400 stores. We're at 650 stores at the end of this year. So we plan on being nationwide, and bringing our brand and bringing our culture across the United States. That's very important to us. And if you look at even our CEO, he's a great guy. He is a brother. He started this company. That's why it's Dutch Bros. His brother passed away. He had a disease. And one of the things he did when we went public, he was wearing a Rage Against the Machine shirt at the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, the guy lives and breathes just, being a rebel. And that's one of our drink is called Rebel. So like I said, it's the passion's there. It's not a unique. It's not a different brand. We're a unique brand. We're one of a kind brand. We're not a Starbucks. We're not a Coffee Tea and Bean Leaf. We're not any of those other coffee brands. We started with a kiosk, and most of our stores in Grants Pass are like little kiosks. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Do the other commissioners have any other questions?
First, we want to close the public hearing and entertain any commission discussion.
Okay. We will now close public hearing.
I'm sorry, public testimony.
Public testimony.
Sure. So this question goes to our community development director. So I know as our city clerk as well as our housing commissioner have expressed, and I think we're other community members as well, that again we do have a lot of coffee shops, and again folks have just the opportunity to choose where they want to get their coffee. So I'm assuming Dutch Bros was the folks who initiated the conversation to come here. In the event that wouldn't have happened, what would have happened in that current space right now?
As we know, Valley Water, they're opening up a new headquarter facility. So we've known about that. We've been getting interest over the time that they've been opened the site for interest. So we've definitely entertained conversations. As you know, the Planning Commission earlier this year and the city adopted the new downtown specific plan. So it made it very flexible to allow, with the approval of a CUP drive-through facility. But that site and within the downtown, you could see a whole number of things. Mixed use, you could see housing, mixed use retail, commercial, mixed use retail, residential. So there's a whole number of things that could have taken place there, just like anywhere else within the downtown.
Sure. So was it Dutch Bros the only, so forgive me, were they sort of the only folks interested at this current time to occupy that space, or were there other businesses?
There were definitely other businesses, but at the time, the site moved forward with Dutch Bros.
Okay. Was that because they submitted an application first, or was that on the city side?
That was not on the city side. That's
Okay.
all on the
Applicants.
the private market.
The private market.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
So yes.
All right. Just to follow up. So I guess what I'm just trying to figure out is that it was basically the private market determined that there was another coffee shop in Baldwin Park, and again, I should say not we, just the city, or at least didn't have any, thank you, say in kind of coffee shop over perhaps a produce or just some other non-coffee shop. Right?
Correct. That is correct.
So it's just based off of the market. That's what just determines the number of coffee shops that we have in the city, not necessarily other municipal factors. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? If there is no more discussion, I will accept a motion. Before we close discussion, would the applicants like to share any last comments? Thank you. So now I close discussion and I will accept a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution. Do I have to name the rest of it, or the resolution of PC 22-08 approving CP 22-09?
I'll second. Any objections? Hearing no objections, the motion is approved.
Roll call.
Ms.
Vice Chair Maciel is absent. Eric Pena, Commissioner.
Yes.
Gina Escobosa, Commissioner.
Yes.
And Ricardo Vasquez, Commissioner.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion carries. The Planning Commission has voted to adopt the resolution of PC 2208 for the CP 2209.
You can. No. Also, would like to, if you get, in addition to adopting the resolution PC 2208, also finding that the project is exempt under CEQA, as noted in the resolution.
Find the proposed project is exempt from environmental review under the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. Specifically, the project is categorically exempt from CEQA under the guidelines section 15303, class 3, new construction or conversion of small structures, because of the purpose of CEQA, in that it consists of the construction of a 950 square foot drive-through coffee shop. The project is approved.
Commissioner Escobosa, also just make a note that there's a 10-day appeal period. Upon that, the passing of the 10-day appeal period, it is final.
Ron, do I just say that there is no report of officers?
Are there any?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any report of officers?
There's oh, go ahead.
No, I just want to say that I know this is the first session or commission meeting, I should say, without our chair, who's now former chair, Joanna Valenzuela, who's now the city treasurer. Just want to wish her the best of luck in her new position, and we again wish her all the luck, as well as the new city council and of course city clerk. And again, I feel that she was a great chair as well as for leadership. And again, just looking forward just to the rest of the next year with the commission and the staff and obviously the community.
any commission or staff communications at this time?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Escobosa. I also like to echo Commissioner Peña's comments. So I'd like to wish and thank our former Madam Chair, Joanna Valenzuela, on her newly elected position. We will miss her and want to thank her for her serving on the Planning Commission. And we wish her the best of luck as City Treasurer for the City of Baldwin Park. I also would like to introduce planning intern, Andrew Gonzalez. He's joining us tonight. He's our new planning intern. Comes to us from UC San Diego. So we're really super excited to have him on board and helping us see through our projects as we go into the new year. So we're really excited. I want to introduce Andrew Gonzalez.
Speech.
And lastly, I just wanted to update the Planning Commission as we go into the new year. We will be scheduling some study sessions, Planning Commission study sessions. There's some long-range activities that the planning staff is working on, one of them being objective design standards. So we'll be holding a study session on that we have to adopt these objective design standards in accordance with state law by June of next year. So we'll be holding those the beginning of the year with the Planning Commission and also the City Council. We anticipate we also have some other projects that will be coming before the Planning Commission. Also, we're probably looking to having a second meeting at the end of January, and then a study session, first meeting in February, and then second meeting also in February. So it's gonna be busy. So I just wanted to give you heads up on those future meetings as the new year comes on board.
And also, we want to welcome our new planning attorney.
Yes.
Any further commission or staff communications? If there are no further comments by the commission, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Second.
Ready for roll call? Vice Chair Maciel Jr. is absent. Commissioner Eric,
Yes.
Commissioner Jean Escobosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Ricardo Vasquez.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we are adjourned at 7:53 p.m.
Recording stop.